would have seemed proper to have gone full course yellow, slow the field down, and get the Guerrero car out of there. I suspect we're going to have a very angry Mario Andretti, and he seems stunned by the whole thing. Normally, he would just hop out of a car. They're still working down, and now they've got him totally free. And let's see what his movements look like. Well, not as quick as I'd like to see. I think he's still a little stunned, if not shocked, by the situation there.
He is the 1989 Molson Indy Man of the Year, honored at the banquet on Thursday night. Won the Formula One championship in 1978. The only man to win both in F1 and, of course, in kart racing. That is the Guerrero car, car 21, the Alfa Romeo, driven by the South American. You know, Paul, he didn't even move at the last minute. He must have been absolutely, totally surprised, because as he went to the right of Teo Fabi in the Porsche, I expected he would dart back quickly to the left. He did not do that.
Well, I don't think that he thought the car was there. I would really be interested in knowing whether or not the marshals on the station just ahead of the corner had the yellow flag out. As we look at it again here, look to the left. I don't see any yellow flags anywhere. Now, they've got a long run here. Let's look up and down the course. Well, there is a flag just before the car itself. What you'd like to know is whether or not one was on display around the corner before, warning Andretti that that car was stationary there. He certainly didn't seem aware of it, or he never would have darted to the right, because the pass would have taken a great deal longer to accomplish.
Well, the good news is Mario Andretti seems to be okay. Under the full yellow, the leader is Danny Sullivan, followed by Emerson Fittipaldi, Michael Andretti, and Al Unser Jr. We'll return live to the Molson Indy right after this. Racing car drivers of all time, Mario Andretti seems to be saying, I don't know what happened. I absolutely had no idea that car was there.
Well, I think he is very surprised that it was. Even more surprising to me is the fact that it was there. You know, there are a couple of theories on that. There's one that may have been a safe area and it was all right to leave it there for a while. On the other hand, when you have an incident like this, and this is certainly not the first time, by leaving it there, you've left a $500,000 race car on the side of the race course. Now, where that car was uninjured, it simply had an engine problem, was driven to a stop. The Alfa Romeo has heavy damage, if not terminal damage to it. It may not be able to be repaired. Andretti's car looked as if the damage was extremely severe. He may have been lucky enough to only cut off the suspension members on the right side and leave the tub or the chassis untouched. But if he didn't, then you've written off two race cars simply because you wanted the convenience of leaving one on the course.
As I said earlier, Paul, I think the tub, where he's sitting, the cockpit, missed that Alfa Romeo by about 3 inches. You have called the Indianapolis 500 for many, many years. You see all the kart races. What happens now? Does a veteran like Andretti come back and literally raise hell, or what goes on?
Well, Andretti represents the drivers to the kart board. So not only does he have the opportunity, just as an angry driver, he has the opportunity as a board member to get down and discuss it with everybody. Of course, it's a group of individuals that are extremely responsive to one another. He'll make his worries known, and they'll discuss it, and they'll come up with a solution. You look at it here again. Andretti is moving for a pass on Teo Fabi. Fabi drifts a little bit to the right. I think he was actually giving the outside road to Andretti when Andretti decided he wanted the inside line. Now, his vision over to Guerrero's car might have been blocked there, and you're absolutely right. I don't think that the impact was more than a couple of inches away from Andretti's feet.
Good news for Mario Andretti. He does not appear to be injured. I tell you, perhaps even a driver that was surprised more is Teo Fabi as he looked in the mirror. I'm sure he couldn't believe it when Andretti went to the inside. We're under the full yellow. Mario Andretti walks back to the control area, and our live coverage of the 1989 Molson Indy will continue. If you're just joining us, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brian Williams, along with the voice of the Indy 500, Paul Page, Ken Daniels, and Pat Gonzalez. We are under a full yellow. Mario Andretti appeared earlier to be limping a little on the right leg. Paul Page, he looks to be all right now, just involved in a spectacular accident. If you were not with us, Andretti trying to pass the Porsche of Teo Fabi on the Lakeshore Straightaway, where they reach top speed here, about 190, 185 miles an hour. He was going to pass to the left. Fabi seemed to be letting him go. He moved into the right, and there was the Alfa Romeo of Roberto Guerrero, and he hit it full on, but he hit it with the right side of the car, not the tub or the cockpit, and that probably prevented very serious injury.
Well, you saw, too, he was very slow getting out of the car, and now you will notice that he's not walking with a purposeful stride. There's an occasional limp there. That's an incredibly disappointed man. He had a shot at winning this race, and because he's now in the autumn of his career, each one of these races means that much more to Mario Andretti. He has an F1 crown to his credit, several IndyCar crowns, one Indy 500, but he still feels very competitive, and now he feels the additional pressure of his own son on his team, and his son often quicker.
Paul, he seems almost stunned by all this. You know, he may just be saying, I'm very fortunate not to have been very seriously injured.
Well, I'm sure that's passed through his mind. If it hasn't, it will pass through when he sees our replays of that accident. But Andretti must be asking himself, either how did it happen to me? Did I miss something? Did I not see something? Or why was the race car on the race course? You know, there's a faction that would suggest that the idea of putting cranes out that can reach over those debris fences and pluck the car off the course is a very good idea. The Indy cars don't use them. They prefer instead, for the situation that we're under now, a full course yellow to go out and clear the circuit. And the part of that theory being simply that when the car is disabled like that, there's also a lot of fuel and oil to get off the course.
The great international star seeming to be very much in his own world. Still, I don't think can believe it happened. The cars are under the full yellow, and let's go down to that Newman Haas pit. Ken Daniels?
Thank you, Brian. Mario may not believe that it could have happened, nor can his crew, and they are still pretty much in the dark, as are we. We will find out, hopefully, when Mario makes his way over here, exactly if he did see that car. But right now, the crew is in the dark, and they are not sure if Mario saw it either. So we'll find out as soon as we can and get a report to you as we send it back upstairs.
Mario Andretti in no hurry to move back to the pit area. The leader right now under the full yellow through 14 laps is Danny Sullivan for Roger Penske.
You know,
Emerson Fittipaldi, Paul, is standing second, followed by Michael Andretti, Al Unser Jr., Bobby Rahal, Teo Fabi, Rick Mears is seventh, Ari Leyendijk is eighth, Scott Pruitt ninth, and Fabrizio Barbazza rounds out the top 10.
Andretti's own internal replay system is at work there right now. He's running that accident through his mind again and again. He has a very analytical mind. He can tell you once a race is over exactly what happened in it and analyze each move. He's certainly going through that again.
We just saw a shot of car number 6. That is son Michael Andretti, and a lot has to be going through his mind, Paul Page, as he's still out on the course. I'm sure he's seen his father get out of the car, but he has to be wondering just how seriously injured he was. Mario was running behind Michael. Mario was running in 7th place at the time. Michael was running 3rd, so Michael had already gone by.
Well, he joins Pancho Carter, who's apparently had an off-course excursion as well, and is going to be driven back into the pit area. Part of what is probably bothering Michael is that he came past at least once and saw his father still in the car. We've already heard from Ken that the crew doesn't really know what happened, and because of that, they can't report to Michael what Mario's condition is. This is really a very long time for them not to have a report on Mario, and when they would get it, they would normally radio Michael immediately. So Michael is no doubt a little worried. There's that shattered car.
That's also Pancho Carter's car in front of it, car number 29. Carter, the veteran. So right now, under the full yellow, we go through 15 laps. The lap count continues under the yellow flag in IndyCar racing. There is Guerrero getting out of his car, car number 21, the March Alfa Romeo. He qualified 19th fastest. He was out of that car, I would say, a good 2 or 3 laps before Mario Andretti slammed into it. And as Paul Page said, I'm sure Andretti, indeed all the drivers, will be wondering why that injured Alfa Romeo was not removed from this course. It could be now a total write-off, as could the number 5 Newman Haas car with a Chevrolet engine of Mario Andretti. A right-hand turn back toward the old CNE Stadium where the Argonauts and the Blue Jays played. If we can keep that shot, they go to the left. There's then a right and a left turn that is called the fastest set of turns in all of international